If you really think about it just for a second, when you see one of those orbs, it means that, or a bunch of those orbs, it means that that particular thing is not there anymore, but may just be hanging around. That's only once in a great while, but most of the time they really are just dust motes. But keep in mind that they may be something, not necessarily human, because every human signature that I have seen has actually been the person and not just a circular orb.
Now I have a question because like I said, I was going through some photographs, so it was funny that they brought that question up. What if you notice an orb that's following one particular person? So it's not in the exact same place, it's just on that one particular person.
Okay, that's a little different. That means there actually is something there. Okay, if it's following that one person, there's something there. Because
that's what I was noticing. We took some pictures of the holidays and this one particular person, that there's this bright orb, and no matter where we took a picture, if this person was in it, this white thing would be over there.
That's what you're looking for. See, it's one thing to just have, I saw millions of sporbs, spirit orbs, but it's a different thing if it's following one particular person, and every time you take a picture of that person, there it is. That means that there's something there. That could be a pet, that could be maybe a type of entity that was not human necessarily. Could even be a guardian angel of sorts. It could very well be, or something else. But I think that when you find something like that, it warrants investigation. And true, nowadays everyone with a video camera believes that they're a paranormal investigator. It's unfortunate. Some of them should remain to fixing plumbing, but we won't go there. We'll just say that you should at least try to investigate. Don't just accept things at face value. Remember, faces change.
So just to remind our viewers, we will actually be on until 9:10 tonight because we got started a little late.
This is correct.
So just to remind them. The other question is, what is the proper use of the principle of forgiveness? When someone has done you wrong, how do you respond nobly and have them not do any further wrong?
Many people come up with clever sayings, such as forgive and forget. No. You never forget. No. You can forgive. And you can say, okay, I understand you did what you thought you had to do. Okay? That doesn't mean I'm going to give you the chance to do it again. People use that against each other by saying, well, you should be forgiving. Well, I'm forgiving. I'm very forgiving. I'm not stupid. Give someone the chance to do it again. Well, maybe they were just going through a bad day for 10 years. A bad day. Okay? You let that person move on so that they can learn the lessons that they need to learn, and so that you can build and repair yourself. Okay? Don't hold any grudges. It doesn't do you any good. Just decide that you're no longer going to deal with that particular person, and perhaps they will be able to find those that resonate with them. Simple.
So, okay, to clarify for me, you're talking about not forget. Does that mean because there's a life lesson in it, but you've done your part as far as forgiving them?
Well, yeah, you've done your part. You've said, okay, I forgive you. Now can we just move on? And it depends upon the level of the offense as well. If someone cut your arm off because they were fooling around, it doesn't matter. Your arm is still gone. You won't ever be able to forget that, no matter what you say, no matter what you do. You can forgive that person. However, if they did it on purpose or out of carelessness, you are allowed in the karmic courts to separate yourself from that person. And from any chance or any possibility of that happening to you by that person, again, don't be angry though. Anger only propagates it. It makes it bigger. Okay? You will go through a brief moment of anger, but see that your anger is going nowhere. Let it go. Move on. And if that means move entirely away from that person, that doesn't mean, the person emailed me, get rid of that email account if that person doesn't see that you don't want to deal with them. Doesn't mean you hold any malice, you just don't want to deal with them. No, I'd much rather not.
Now, what if you're in a situation where you still have to deal with this person? Let's say like an ex-spouse or family member that you just can't avoid because of family reunions or family events. How do you deal with that?
you deal with them like any other person, to a degree. Now, if you're talking about because an ex-spouse, because the two of you have children,
Right.
that makes it a little more difficult. But you can say, listen, we have to discuss the child. And as
Right.
long as we're both around the child, then we can be civil with each other. Remember, civil. That does not mean I like you. It doesn't mean I want to hang around you.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I even want to talk to you about anything other than dealing with this child.
Mm-hmm.
Do I make myself perfectly clear? Okay, if you're talking about family members, it's the same way. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And if you're constantly being hurt by your family member, that's not really your family. That's someone that is using the word family in order to bludgeon you. And you have to see that. And if you have to, leave them.
That makes sense.
And listen, I only say what I know. I only say what I am absolutely sure of. If I believe it, I will tell you I believe it. However, this I know. There is no penalty for separating from people that have harmed you or are hurting you. You must get that in your mind. There is no penalty. However, there is a penalty for allowing yourself to be hurt over and over and over and over again under the guise of family obligation.
That makes a lot of sense. The next question kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier about the sporbs. It says, what if the sporb is only in one spot, meaning they appear when you take a picture in a certain place? Not necessarily a certain person, but just in that one spot. So it's not the camera, because if you take pictures elsewhere, it's not there. It's just one particular spot.
The same principle applies. The same thing. There's definitely something there. It may be a ghost, it may be a spirit. Listen, in many cases it may be a trick of the light. Okay, in that particular spot, depending upon the condition. But you have to remain open. You understand? Be open and at least investigate.
I have a question. You just mentioned something that was interesting to me, and you might have covered it earlier, but just to clarify, what's the difference between a ghost and a spirit?
The difference between a ghost and a spirit is one of them you can interact with, and one of them you cannot. A ghost is merely a shell of what once was. Okay, a spirit is there, is sentient. It may not have a body, but it's definitely there.
Okay, so that's the difference then.
Yeah, there's a huge difference there. One of them you can communicate with if it chooses to. I know that there's a big belief that just because you feel like talking to a spirit, they're supposed to talk back. Or,
they might not be that.
Here I am, big bad spirit, come get me. You know, but it doesn't work that way. If they choose to talk to you, they will. And most times, if they really want to talk to you, they're quite insistent. However, it's up to them. We cannot force them. I don't care what you've heard about dead time. They have to speak to you. They don't. Okay? They have free will just as you do. Just because they've lost their body doesn't mean that their free will is gone. As far as the ghosts, listen, they're just an energy trail. They will go back and forth. And you heard many accountings of people saying, you know, I've seen this person walking back and forth with a light, you know, waving it back and forth, you know, every night at the same time or at a certain point of the year. Well, that's called a ghost.
Right.
Okay, and you go and you try to talk to it, and you might as well, you know, try to talk to the glass right there and, you know, have it talk to you back. You know, it's just a remnant. That's all it is. A ghost is a remnant. A spirit is a person.
That's good to know the difference. Now, this is interesting. It says, what is a geomancy? G-E-O?
Geomancy?
Geomancy.
That is earth magic. It's a form of earth magic, actually. And it would take a long explanation to tell you exactly what geomancy is, but it's a good practice, so long as you stay positive about it. You can always tell when you've done something wrong dealing with earth magic. The earth tells you quite loudly. You know, but if you really want to know specifics such as that, I'll be happy to answer them off this show. Again, this particular show is for those that would ask questions that everybody would benefit from, and that everyone would be able to understand So when we come up with things such as geomancy, although they're very honorable things and worth knowing, the explanation of what geomancy actually is in the form of earth magic and how to deal with earth magic is complicated. Okay.
There's another question here. It says, I hear and sense spirits occasionally, but I know that I have the ability to see them if I weren't afraid. How can I learn to be able to see spirits so I can help others?
Stop being afraid.
Easier said than done.
Actually, you have to ask yourself why you're afraid. Really, why are you afraid? Are you afraid because you think all of a sudden they're going to grow long claws and
pretty much,
appear in front of you with a red and green shirt? Listen, you have to watch the input that has been given about, or the things that have been given about the paranormal world. Understand that paranormal means normal and beyond. Para, which means otherworldly, not necessarily of physical earth, but nevertheless there. Wisdom, esoteric knowledge, all that good stuff. Remember, it's paranormal, which means normal and other than. If it were just plain normal, it would be apara. But what we're talking about is paranormal, or how we say it here, paranormal. It's just like metaphysics. Metaphysics means the physical and more. Meta, which is greater, bigger, wider. So understand that we've been told a lot of things are forbidden based upon someone else's fear, not yours. Listen, one of the greatest people of all time, greatest, and my role model, who I love talking about, is Jesus. And you know something? One cannot say Jesus or angel or God and not think paranormal. Okay? It's interesting that everyone always goes towards the other guy, the devil, the demons, the bad guys whenever you hear the word paranormal. It's like you go up to someone and you say paranormal, they go, it's really quite funny. You have to ask yourself, well, why am I afraid of this? If you're talking about something that is intangible, but you're also talking about an idea, why not be afraid of looking up at the sun? Why not be afraid of going outside at night and seeing stars? For that matter, how did they harness that electricity in the first place? Is it paranormal? Well, if you deal with someone like Mr. Tesla, most definitely. But listen, there would be no normal without para. Do you understand? If you have an idea in your head, that is paranormal. And since you're not afraid of ideas, why be afraid of anything? Seriously. For those of you that call yourselves Christian, to sit in front of me and tell me that you're afraid of something is ridiculous. So I just thought I'd call you out on that. So, listen, ask yourself why you're afraid. And then, understand. Don't be afraid to understand. You might find a lot of things about yourself. And then, once you've learned some lessons, turn and give those lessons to other people. Just like you see me doing here and now.
That's great advice. The other question is, I've noticed a lot of people having the experience of waking up with unexplained scratches on their body. What causes this, and is it dangerous?
In some cases it can be dangerous, yes. In other cases they may be scratching themselves unconsciously. In order to fully ascertain the nature of those scratches, I'd have to study the person, or at least examine their energy to find out. You'd be amazed at what you can do to yourself in your sleep. That's why a lot of times they will put little socks on babies' hands, little covers, because they scratch themselves.
Right.
And people can do that themselves. There may be something in your bed that is scratching you. Maybe you really did piss someone off. Oh, excuse my language. You have to really determine the nature of those things. And I know that I say it kind of, humorously, but you know what? If you can't have humor, you really shouldn't be in the paranormal business at all. You shouldn't even go near it. The truth is that everything that we do is paranormal in one way, shape, or form. the fact that you can look at a camera and I can look at a camera, we both see the same thing as a paranormal experience, yet is also normal. Now, when it comes to things like physical affectations, you really have to take into consideration all of the physical before you go jumping up into the paranormal and say, "Oh, a demon who is great and powerful decided to scratch me." Really? Okay? Think about it. And if something is harming you, really harming you, that's why you have people like myself.
Now, adding to that, what if, for example, the person actually has a dream where they're actually fighting someone or something and do wake up with scratches?
That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Okay? Because at that point in time, you're dealing with something that is affecting you on some level that has nothing to do with the sandwich that you ate. Okay? Because if you're being scratched and fought in your dreams and that the physical markings come up, that means that we have a connection between that which is intangible and that which is tangible, and that means that something or someone is influencing you. At that particular moment, then we have a problem. Okay? That means that we have to do something, and do something quickly.
So definitely, if that's the case, then they would need to contact someone like yourself to figure out how to deal with it. That's good to know. Now, there's another question kind of can go along with that. It says, what does it mean when you wake up to a bad smell and nothing physically present could have caused that smell? Stop it.
I'm sorry. Now, all of you out there who claim not to be psychic, you know what I'm thinking.
Okay, what if it's not that?
Wait.
What
if it's not that, then we have to, again, look at all of the physical before we go jumping up into the paranormal. Okay? If you've examined everything physical and there is no cause, then we start looking at the paranormal. A lot of times, this is a case, I have to go back a bit, many times this is a case with bad geomancy. Okay? Bad earth magic. Leaves behind a very foul smell. Okay? And I'm serious. I'm smiling, but I'm very serious. You have to take into consideration that different spells or different ceremonies can cause a bad reaction if they're not done correctly. And in other cases, you may have just had a bad case of gas. Now, for those of you that have exhausted the physical, understand that this is very serious. Sometimes entities will leave behind a bad smell. In which case, again, you will contact someone like myself, or at least learn so that you can protect yourself.
So if you do have a bad smell, so you don't go into, like you said, the realm of from normal to paranormal, what are other things that you would look for besides that there was a
You would have to feel something. Now, I've had to deal with a person that woke up with very strong smells. And then we found out that this particular person had a bad connection with their dead mom. And was really having something pose as their mom that broke down his defenses. Because, you know, listen, for a boy, what more powerful agent is there than their mother?
Right.
You know, so he called me and showed me pictures of the mother's gravesite, which he was very obsessed with. And we had to have a man-to-man talk. And then I had to tell him, listen, you've got to let go of certain things. Remember, if you hang on to death, the smell will follow. Just like anything else. And that's exactly what he was smelling. He was smelling decay. And sometimes you just got to let people go. I know it's hard, but sometimes you do. Other times I've had people call saying that they smell roses all the time. And I say, you smell roses all the time? Are you calling me afraid? Really? You know, so...
That's funny you mentioned that, because when my mother-in-law passed, there was a very strong smell of roses. And so, to this day, because my sister-in-law still lives in that house, there are certain times that you walk by a room where she passed and there's that strong, sweet smell of roses. Which
brings me to a point. Now, many of you are just meeting Charlie. Charlie and myself have known each other for a long time. Charlie is also psychic. I wouldn't have someone that was not psychic help on this show. Okay, and she's very psychic. She does see, as does her husband. And
I'm kind of in denial, though.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay.
I'm still getting past the fear factor too. I watched too many horror movies in my day.
Yeah. Well, I still watch them. They're my favorite movies. But she is very psychic herself, and does see, and sees clearly. So, just so you know that about Charlie, she's not just a pretty face. She's also very experienced, and along with her husband, who is the state trooper, and also sees. That's got to be quite interesting. But when you have those bad smells, examine everything. Remember, you have to be responsible. If you're going to do any type of investigation, you must exhaust every single thing that you possibly can before you decide to blame something on a demon who decided to stop all of his demonic activities just to pick on you. Mm-hmm. You know?
Now, if you're afraid, like someone was asking earlier, does that still give you the ability to be able to investigate objectively, or is it going to be something that's going to be a hindrance? Supposedly there was something that's not normal.
One of the first things you've got to do is master yourself. Mm-hmm. Master yourself. You can still have fear, but master it. You can be quaking in your boots, but master it. Mm-hmm. Realize that you have the right to live in peace. And whether or not this thing that has decided to bully you thinks so, you can stand up to it. Don't be Mr. Big and Bad or anything like you see that Astro Boy guy do on TV. You know, just master your fear. Steel your nerves. Face what you need to. Now, if you know that you're out of your league, don't hang around. Mm-hmm. Go find someone to help you. There's no shame in finding help. Absolutely no shame. If you didn't find help, then people like me wouldn't have a job.
Pretty true.
Okay? So find help. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of it. Okay?
So adding to that, it says, I have a hard time eliminating fear and guilt. I'm sure most can relate. Do you have a ceremony, or can you recommend a way that I can ease fear and guilt?
Yes. Sit quietly somewhere, anywhere, someplace that makes you feel good. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Relax. Now, I know that sometimes it's hard to relax, but if you just take a moment and realize that you are part of this world, take a deep breath, close your eyes. Make all of the sounds around you blend into your world. Picture every single thing that troubles you, that causes you to be afraid. Everything that would cause you stress. All those people, all those events, all those things that have happened to you that would knock you off of your center. Take a deep breath, place them all in the palm of your hand in your mind's eye. Blow them away. Do that 3 times. Make it part of your daily ceremony. And look at yourself in the mirror and say, I will not fear. I will not fear. I'm a child of God or divinity, and therefore deserve to live in peace, and I will do so. There's no reason to be guilty. Guilt is the strongest weapon that darkness has. Always. Guilt. Remember when you did this. Remember when you did that. Yes, I remember it. I really don't feel bad about it. Mm-hmm. Find your own peace. Once my teacher's top assistant read a passage, and although I don't remember the passage, I remember what it meant. And I do this with people. When all of those troubles and all of those fears start weighing you down, start finding a way to defeat you, you take like a spray bottle and you just mist your own face. And then you use the power which is available to all of us that are here, and you say, I call forth that power that is known as the Holy Spirit, and to all you that are causing me trouble, just easy. Just that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at all of those things like people. Like dark armies that are on your battlefield. And there's only you standing there. And the only weapon that you have is the Holy Spirit itself. And you say, shh. Try it. And let me know what you think.
Now, I have a question building on that, because whenever someone hears they're psychic, or she's psychic, or he's psychic, they're like, oh goodness, here we go again. Yet they don't have a problem saying, oh, they're very intuitive. They're very in tune. They just have a sixth sense sort of thing. Why is it that people have such a hard time understanding that? And then adding to that is the fact, like you just mentioned, being able to tune into the Holy Spirit for guidance. Yet people have a hard time when they believe that that guidance isn't the Holy Spirit, but it's part of that built-in psychic intuition.
Because there were those that were not psychic, or those that were afraid, and those that had no talent, that decided to define what being psychic is. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with things that are unseen by everyone, it puts you in a small category of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And many people who were psychic were killed. Many people that had that talent were ostracized, tortured, placed in places that no one should be placed in, treated like dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that particular fear has carried over centuries. I am one person that is not afraid of it. Even great teachers such as Jesus, if you all remember, was called devil, evil, witch, or whatever name they could think of at the time, stoned, spat upon. And then, when they thought he was dead, all of a sudden, oh, he truly was the Son of God.
Right.
I have news for you. He's the Son of God even before he got tortured. And you know something? I look at it this way. The only time that you know that you're truly alive is when you stand up for something. You can't frighten me into giving up my gift. You can't torture me. The worst you can do to me is kill me. But you know what? I'll be back. And better. And all of you, and all of us that have an ability, that have the ability to see, need to stop hiding. Stand up. Be counted. It's all right. You have a choice. And I find it very, very interesting that you can look at someone that says, Jesus is the Son of God. God, Almighty God. And then turn around and say, well, because you're like God, that makes you evil. Isn't that interesting?
I had never thought of it that way. That's very true. Very true.
You're like God. You can see. And God gave you a gift. That it must have come from the devil, because I don't have it. Isn't that really what they're saying?
Basically the unknown, right?
And you know what? I will challenge any minister, anyone, to prove to me that God is not the very embodiment of paranormality.
That's actually quite true.
So.
Yeah. Okay, someone recommended beef jerky for grounding. Does the drying and curing process make beef jerky a more potent grounding?
Ooh, that was me. That was me. I recommended that.
Okay, for the ones that weren't in the loop, what does grounding mean, and what does the beef jerky have to do with it?
The beef actually is a protectorant. It does actually densify the body. And it may be the salt, it may be the beef and the salt and the curing and all of that good stuff, but it works. It's as simple as that. Now, I do know that in the old days, people that were witch hunters actually wore leather, because it does block psychic emanation to a degree.
Really?
Yeah, it really does.
That's interesting.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do if you're doing an exorcism, or you're dealing with breaking spells, or you're dealing with, like I do, you deal with fighting evil on almost any level, is to wear leather. It does actually help. You know, it blocks things. Blocks psychic emanation, I know that the going thing is wear lead or an aluminum hat.
Yes. You know, it's kind of funny that you mention that because in law enforcement, that's a big thing. We wear the leather gloves to protect ourselves from needles and, you know, sharp objects, and we wear leather jackets. Mm-hmm. It's just part of it. It's kind of and even the guys on the bicycle unit, the motorcycle unit, excuse me, on the bike unit, they wear the leather because it's more protected.
Well, it makes sense. You think about it for a second. Policing, whether it be psychic policemen or physical policing, runs almost in the same way. You know, I know that there are those that you go and find the oldest person that you can possibly find and say that they're the ones that, person with a bun and glasses and call them psychic and or whatever, someone who thinks that they're a goddess. But the truth is that it does help. It blocks emanations. It's also part of a uniform. It also is denser than wearing cloth.
Right.
And it gives you some metaphysical attributes, such as being able to protect your own energy, just like silver does to a degree. Interesting enough, when it comes to metals, silver is one of the most dependable ones that can be charged and used in warding off psychic attack. Gold can, but do you know that silver is actually more conducive than gold?
That's funny.
It's really interesting that gold would get the higher value when silver is actually the better metal. It's really kind of funny.
Yeah, and it's funny too because when you talk about how the fact that the psychic policing goes kind of along the same lines as physical policing, one of the things that I find ironic that being in law enforcement, you hear that cop sense, that
exactly.
You know, that again
that
going back to that that gut feeling, that something where a quote-unquote normal police officer will know exactly where the suspect is hiding or exactly where the evidence is or where to look for a murder suspect or a murder victim. Yeah. But it's funny because people don't associate the two, yet if the cop says it's that cop sense, people look at it like, oh, he's a great cop. But if he says, oh, I'm psychic, they'd be like, okay, we need to retire this guy. He's working too hard.
I had a hunch. You had a what? Yeah. It's really quite interesting. The investigation process runs almost the same. You know, you get something, there's a signal, and you have to follow that signal. I had one student with me that watched me find everything that a person had stolen out of another person's car. And I had to walk around and like a bloodhound, I sniffed it all out and said, okay, they went here, and here, and here, and here. And to look at me, I looked kind of like a prowling cat, you know, just hunched over and looking, right. But that's the sense that I had to use. I found everything that was stolen. The person had just kind of randomly threw things here and threw things there. But that was my process. It was almost like you could smell it, you know, and over here. And then we walked around, we walked all around the corner, and I said, okay, that person just left. But it would work the same as if I was looking for something else. I would use everything at my faculty. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with things of a psychic nature, and you go to many of the people that are very stodgy, even in law enforcement, and you say, okay, I know this. And they go, really? And how do you know? You know, and then you're, well, I'm a telepath. So you just found this. You just happened to see it and then you found this. Yes. You know, and it works that way. Unfortunately, because of a small handful of people that really don't know their right from their left, but have convinced everyone that they know what right and left is, you've got all of the other people that are running scrambling. I would say the religion is largely responsible for the fear of people who are psychic.
But that's kind of funny too, because like I've seen actual seasoned police officers do exactly what you just described, and that was all attributed just to good police work.
It's called psychism, or intuition, or the ability to see. You know, so we need to get out from behind all of these masks and just be who we are.
Right.
I need to say a few things to some of the children. Listen, when you all have, and these are my homies, okay, or as Kazi says, my homies. When you guys see something, don't be afraid to say it. Okay? If you really see something, don't be afraid to say what it is that you see. It's important. Do you understand? It doesn't matter what anybody will think about you. You have to be okay with yourself. Now, growing up, I just kind of learned to be quiet about certain things that I saw. But you don't have to do that. Tell someone. Nowadays, when someone says that they saw something, there are those people that are willing to listen. Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid of what you see, and don't let anybody make you afraid of what you see. If they do, come tell me. Or someone.
That's funny.
Okay.
The next question. Do you recommend LED lights, and what do they do?
I do recommend the LED lights. It's very interesting. The engineering, and I say engineers because I like engineers because they make things. Mm-hmm. Science theorizes, and that's good, but engineers actually make things. Mm-hmm. They have stumbled upon this LED light, which actually gives a similar spectrum to moonlight. Isn't that interesting? And it actually cuts psychic emanation. Cuts astral emanation down to maybe a fourth of what it would normally be. It's really the most interesting thing ever. Although I don't think they really know how to use it, but if they actually want to dampen a psychic field, have it filled with LED lighting. Even in a paranormal thing, it's kind of funny. They use LED lighting when they want to see something psychic, when it actually cuts it down.
That's funny. I find it funny that you use LED lighting in law enforcement to find the bad people, or to be able to show the crime scene so you can see it better.
And it does show the crime scene better. But when you're talking about astral emanations, it will cut it. It's a defense mechanism. It's the most interesting thing. Kind of like vampires are afraid of full spectrum sunlight, except for the daywalkers, that is. You know, it's the same. It actually cuts it down. It weakens the astral emanation. Mm-hmm. If you have something such as an astral portal in your home, if you have an LED field around it, just light that shines there, it won't close it, but it will block it. Okay. So nothing can come through. So I recommend it a lot to people that are undergoing psychic attack. Yes, they're very, very good. And they're pretty efficient. They don't cost as much as regular electricity. And they provide better lighting.
I have a question. You just talked about psychic attack. Do you have to know that you're psychic to do this, or is this something that could just happen because of your evil intent or your bad thoughts about somebody?
No, you don't have to know that you're psychic. Mm-hmm. People attack each other all the time by saying very negative things, by thinking very negative thoughts. The mind is extremely powerful and is very, very complex. Unfortunately, even science, and you know, I have to give respect to science. I don't necessarily like scientists the way that science is now, but I do like pure science. Mm-hmm. And pure science is about discovery. It is about finding those unlocking things that have been hidden. Now, the mind is so complex that it can create almost anything, mm-hmm. But it only has a couple of limits, and that is the physical, okay?
Right.
But when you're dealing with something such as the paranormal, it challenges the mind and causes the mind to mutate and expand, which is what a mind should do.
Right.
Constantly mutate, expand. And in this particular case, when someone is dealing with a psychic attack, you have to think about all of the force that huge computer that we have inside of our head, focusing a huge amount of power and a beam of thought that hits another person. Now, those persons are usually connected in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Okay? For instance, the most powerful attack that a person could undergo is from a family member. Mm-hmm. Anybody else is just kind of, unless they have a huge amount of mental power. But most of the time, the psychic attack will come from someone that's related to you, or someone that is in love with you, or something like that, mm-hmm. or one of your friends. And you think about that a lot. They say things such as, don't go outside with no jacket on. Mm-hmm. You know, you'll catch a cold. And then, dead of summer, you catch a cold because you went outside with no jacket on.
Well, there goes to the fact that people will say, you know, oh, thanks for brainwaving that, now it's going to happen. Because people are so quick to be able to believe that somebody's brainwave could actually
cause something
to happen.
There are
Yet
some
you
people
talk
that,
about something like this, they're like, you're crazy. There's no such thing as that.
Well, that couldn't be further from the truth, because there are people that can influence things. There are people that can focus a huge amount of energy on a thing that pull actual energy that could cause things to manifest, or at least cause them to manifest to a degree until someone picks it up. Say, well, that cup there is going to move.
Right.
Okay. And someone will say, no, it won't. Just let it, sit there and see if it moves. And then all of a sudden someone comes in and says, oh, let me move this cup. Well, to someone else that'll seem like, well, they lifted the cup. I said the cup was going to move. I didn't say how.
Exactly.
It's just an influence. Now, someone that has a huge amount of mental power can, because physical laws say there has to be a vehicle to make that cup move.
Right.
They say that cup is going to move, and it could be because that person saw it or they influenced it. All of a sudden there's an earthquake. And
right.
The cup has moved. Now, you can never just say, oh, that can never happen, because it can.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Believe
definitely.
me, it can. There are people that have more power than what you believe. And not because necessarily they were born that way, because they've learned, or because they've changed, or because they themselves have mutated. Never leave anything outside the realm of possibility. As a matter of fact, the impossible happens daily.
Right.
It's the improbable that may take a little longer.
That's true.
This
is a good question. Why do you call yourself unicorn, and what is their purpose on Earth and in the universe?
The unicorn is the dispeller of evil. That's what I do. I dispel evil. The unicorn is a symbol of strength, nobility, and power. It's everything that I want to be, and everything that is within me. People like to say, well, no one's perfect. Of course, I'm in a constant state of perfection. If I was perfect, do you think I would seriously be here? Honestly. If I were perfect, I'd have wings that sprouted from me, and I'd be up in the air all the time. But I chose the unicorn because it chose me. I wanted to be like Jesus, and I still do. That is my one true goal, to be exactly like him. And, years ago, the symbol of Christ was the unicorn, and still is, the way that I see it. And, there are a lot of people who say, yeah, but why unicorns? That's kind of dopey. Why even ask a question like that? That's silly. Why do people wear crosses? Why do people do anything that they do? I chose this, like I said, because it chose me. And people say, well, you don't look like a unicorn. Really? Tell me what a unicorn looks like. Seriously. You don't know. You think that it's supposed to be a little horsey that is constantly curved and looking all dainty. I'm not that kind of unicorn. I'm the kind of unicorn that has a horn. It's very, very sharp, and I know how to use it. And I use it to pierce veils and illusions, and will continue to do so. Now, how do they help in this world? By dispelling evil, by telling people the truth fearlessly, and also by giving them something to be safe about, and something to represent safety. If you're around me, you're safe. In fact, I'm the person you want to see in the dark alley.
That's for real.
Okay? Because I'm probably about to save your behind. And I will do so fearlessly, whether it be physical, mental, or spiritual, or paranormal, if you will. Whatever. I don't run from demons. I am aware that I am human. I'm not looking for the mothership, because I'd be like the rest of you. Looking up and go, what the? Or maybe I'll just lay down and take a nap.
I'll come back later on that one. Oh my goodness. The next question says, can sickness be transmitted etherically? If so,
yes.
How can people protect themselves? Does the earth sometimes intercept in the ability to heal an individual or for containment?
Yes, those are all very good questions. Actually, yes, people do transfer sickness etherically. Remember that we are literally one. We all live within the etheric field of the earth and are therefore joined etherically. Even great teachers such as Jesus said, if you do something to someone in your mind, it is as sure as you've done it to them physically to a degree. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, there's a way to protect yourself. Remember, you can also call upon those things that are healing within the etheric field of the earth. And you can transform those things, but in order to do that, you must use something that science really doesn't like to hear, and that is imagination. Mm-hmm. You must be willing to use that which you've been given, this wonderful computer that we were talking about earlier, to transform those negative things into positive things. I am what you call spell-proof, which literally means I can take other people's negativity and transform it into positivity and add it to my own shielding. Mm-hmm. Now, we were joking earlier about aliens and mothership. I'm not waiting for one. I've seen several, but I really don't care to get on any.
You're not trying to hitch a ride.
Not at all. I love this earth, and I love the physical. There's so many great joys in being physical. I can do things like create movies and play music and talk to people and dance and run and all that good stuff. And I enjoy good hard work, just for those that are looking to escape this earth, seriously, stop it. Okay? When it is time for you to leave this earth, you will. Mm-hmm. You will. But in the meantime, for goodness sake, quit trying to escape. When you really want to escape, just for a temporary time, here, I'll give you something to escape to. Here's that thing. Oh yeah, this is a game called Skyrim. That'll help you escape. You see that? You see that? Find one of these. It's great. Oh, that. It's great. Find one of those. Just escape temporarily, but know when to leave. Okay? Get back to your physicality. It's okay. It won't hurt you. So use that. And then, as far as etherically goes, don't just wish. Do something. I've given you some basic things to do. Exercise. Make sure that you're eating properly. Drinking enough water. Making sure that you have some spiritual content in your life. Make sure that you are doing something that is going to be positive. Okay? All these wonderful things that you could be doing. That's how you make sure that you're better.
Very true.
And for those of you that are going through sicknesses right now and illnesses right now, do your best, please. Surround yourself in positivity. And you know something? I have somewhat against doctors, because a lot of times a doctor will try to dash the hopes of a person under the form of medicine by saying you're going to die. That should be illegal in this country. It really should. It should be illegal for a doctor to say something like that, because it destroys the hope of people. And you can't do that.
Very true.
At least give the person a fighting chance. Tell them we will remain positive. Seriously. Person is suffering fibromyalgia. I know it hurts, but get up and do some exercise.
Very true.
Do something. Don't just doom a person to hurting all the time. And don't allow yourselves to be doomed to hurt. I've been around people that were terminal. And you may not be able to convince someone that there is an afterlife because of all of the people that are running around saying that there's not, but there is. And I've helped people build their homes on the other side. And it was the most remarkable thing. It was the most beautiful thing ever. You continue to live. Now, I know it's hard for a person who's going through something right now, but at least be around people that are going to smile genuinely, not feel sorry for you. You don't need anyone to feel sorry for you.
Absolutely.
That's an insult. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I want people around me that are going to be strong and positive and help me be strong and positive. That's how you help other people. That's how you do that. Then etherically, we can all get stronger. Remember, Gandhi himself said, when one man falls, I'm paraphrasing, when one man falls, the whole world falls to that extent. But when one man does good, then everyone benefits from that good. Man, woman, however you want to put it. So why do you say you're man? I'm a guy. And I love women. I married one. Seriously.
That's funny. This other question is kind of cool. I like this. Is this people often say there must be something in the water. Are water reservoirs also reservoirs of thought?
Yes, they can be, and there is something in the water. That's a long explanation. However, there's always been a debate about how people are in consciousnesses. There is literally something in the water, but we won't go into that. We'll go into the mental aspect of it, and minds do think alike. Find your pool. Find those people that are going to think like you. It's really quite simple. You can't even put this in the realm of paranormal. I guess you could. But there are people that are willing to resonate with you, and people that just have not found their particular pool. And when they do, and when you do, you'll find that it's very easy. You click right together. There's no complication. There's nothing. It's just the way that it is. And when you all think alike, someone says, oh, there must be something in the water. Yeah. It's called positivity. And when someone says that, you say, yes, positivity, you should try some. It's good for you. And you can get it in a bottle. No.
So is that also the factor where you notice that if you happen to be very positive, you kind of attract those kind of people to you, and then if there's someone negative, they just kind of not like you or don't want to be around you?
Yeah, but it's really interesting. Positive people have a tendency to attract negative people. It's really quite interesting. Not as many, but they do attract negative people. And then what you have to do is you get an opportunity. You can separate yourself from that negativity by making a decision, or you can just try to change that other person. You never try to change another person. You face them with themselves. You just hold the mirror up and let them see themselves. Positive people are positive with or without someone.
Right.
You know, so whether they've attracted something or not is really irrelevant. It is whether or not they can maintain themselves throughout positivity or negativity.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. This question is interesting. It says, some people cut themselves off from nature. Does this have an effect on the Earth's etheric field?
No. Listen, you can never cut yourself off from nature. I don't care who you think you are.
Unless you stop breathing.
Yeah. If you're cut off from nature, you're dead. And
You're
even then, nature will collect you.
Yes.
So, yeah. For those of you that say, I'm not a nature person, yeah, you are. You have to eat. We won't talk about the other things you have to do. But you're breathing, right? Guess what? You are not cut off from nature. If you are inhaling and exhaling, you, my friend, are a part of nature. And nature is a part of you. So, no, it doesn't hurt the etheric field of the Earth. Listen, the Earth will exist long after we do. I know there are people that like to believe that the Earth one day is going to go, I'm tired of this. You know, it doesn't work that way.
Be kind of cool to watch, though.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Now, if you walk outside and you see Jupiter looming over us, filling the sky, take a nap.
Yes.
Okay, it'll be over soon. But no, it doesn't hurt the etheric field of the Earth. Remember, the Earth is one of these things that is constantly regenerating. Its stage of perpetuosity is a lot longer than ours. Okay, it's been here forever, and it will be here forever. It may change shape, but it will be here unless someone decides to play pool. You know, so we need to stop thinking about whether or not the Earth is being hurt by something and realize that the Earth itself will regenerate itself. Yeah, haven't you ever noticed, you can go down the street and you see a blade of grass that is cracked through cement? Seriously. It's the most remarkable thing ever. And you sit there and you go, how did that happen? It cracked the whole street just to put a blade of grass up. Now, that's one of those wonderful mysteries that Mother herself only knows.
Very true. Well, we have 4 minutes left. I think we have time for one more question. This is interesting, too. It said, if an oracle or a prophet makes a prediction, does it also contain a blessing to ensure that destiny comes to pass?
It may, or even the influence of. People have told me oftentimes, would this have happened if you didn't say it? I don't know. Do you view yourself as a prophet? Absolutely not. No, don't even try to put that label on me. Because if you do, there'll be like 100 people outside my door telling me that I'm a false prophet. You know, no. You know, prophecies are prophecies, whatever they are. I think I can tell you that the whole Nostradamus thing, they were all so misinterpreted. They're so stupid. But that's neither here nor there. There have been many different prophecies that have been misinterpreted just out of benefit. You know, you said hister.
Yeah.
Please. You know, it's try to not worry so much out about prophecies and think about the now. The prophecies don't matter. They don't. They just don't. Think about now. So, there shall be fire and brimstone and wailing and gnashing of teeth and gnashing and wailing. And there shall be giant scorpions that come out of the ground and sting people, and then death awaits you with nasty pointed teeth.
What is it with the teeth?
I don't know. But it's just, you know, are there any good prophecies? Seriously? You know, really? Here's a prophecy. If you live your best, you'll know that you did. Just do what you can do. Stop worrying about all of the prophecies and being afraid of what is yet to come. And remember, a benevolent God does not sit around and think of ways to torture those that he says he loves. Remember that, okay? You've been listening to the wrong person. You drank Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid. You don't drink the Kool-Aid. Okay? Stay out of that. Now, that being said, I'd like to say goodnight to all of the kids. You all know who you are. All of you. And also, I'd like to say goodnight to Anita, who last time left a message to say, me. All of the Browns, all of the Risberas, all of the Carabellos, all of the people that you all know that I love you. You all know that you're very deeply cared for. And for all of you, those people that I may not have named especially, you know who you are. I'd like to say goodnight to you all, and hope to see you next week. We will get better and better as we go along. You see, we have been. We are, even though we know much about cameras and things like that, doing something live is a little different. We'll have some other entertainment. I hope you all got to see Unicovia. For those of you that did not get to see Unicovia, I'm sure it's showing, and you'll be able to see it. We'll be coming up with other movies, and you will see my wonderful face on a lot of them. You'll also see Charlie's, and I'll try to get her husband in on it as well as many other people. Now, if this is helping you in any way, we would like to keep doing this. So if it's helping you, please make a donation to our websites. Find a way to. You can email us, make donations on any of the websites, and we will use your donation to ensure that we give you better showings. All of your questions will be answered. And I think that's about all there is to say. Good night to all your children. Most of you I will be seeing in the morning. That is a few of you, actually, I'll be seeing in the morning. And I hope you all will have a great time, because I always do when I'm around you. And, of course, Kazi will be available to play games. Anyway, listen, you all have a wonderful evening. I'm Ahura Z.
Charlie Alejandro, have a great night.
Namaste.